Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studios today by Ray Ora.
Hey, everyone.
Jonathan Voico's here.
Yeah, all right. How you doing?
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of topics we got lined up. And then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you've got a thought, comment, or question that you'd like us to address on the show, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed and read on our show, go ahead and use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Send it on in and we'll get to it in the second part of the show. And here's the good news. If you're listening to our show on our podcast feed, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other of your favorite podcasting apps of choice, or if you're watching this show a little bit later in the day when we're not live, the tip link is good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can send in a question too, and we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, guys. Hey, I got a bit of an announcement to make. It's going to involve a change happening with the John Campea Show. So some of you guys probably know that I started a second YouTube channel where I can talk a little bit of sports, because I know you guys don't want me to talk sports on this channel, so I try not to talk about sports, even though sports is a lifelong passion of mine. So I started a little thing, and we've decided that starting on Monday, a week from today, we are going to be starting a brand new podcast over there. The channel is called Filthy Sports, and it's out there and available now. You can go and subscribe to it now. I've got a couple of little videos put up there, but starting Monday, we are going to be doing a 4-day-a-week, Monday through Thursday, live sports podcast show, which I'm incredibly excited about. I've been wanting to talk sports for decades and decades. I mean, it's right up there with movies. Sports are my true passion. You guys know I talk about sports all the time whenever I can. Now, here's how this is going to affect the John Campea Show, and it is going to make a change to the John Campea Show. Filthy Sports, the podcast, will stream live at 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday. That's Los Angeles time. So if you're on the East Coast, New York time, what's that? 11, 12, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, 10 a.m. Los Angeles time. The John Campea Show, the movie show, is moving from 11:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the East Coast, that will be 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, that is starting next week. So, if you want a whole bunch of John Campea crew goodness all day, we will be doing, starting a week from today on Monday, over on the Filthy Sports channel, we're going to be doing a daily sports talk show. And then at 2 p.m. Los Angeles time, we will be doing the John Campea movie show. So, I mean, we've been having a few people over the last number of months anyway, asking us to move the John Campea Show a little bit later. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. So again, Filthy Sports on the Filthy Sports channel at 10 a.m. Los Angeles time. That's 1 p.m. New York time. And then the John Campea movie show here on this channel at 2 p.m. Los Angeles time, 5 p.m. Again, that will all be starting next week. And Calm Down Rich is asking, when's the tech show start? That's the next one up. Because that's my other big passion is tech and my tech toys. But no, I think we'll stop with movies and sports. So those are the ones that we're going to be doing. Hopefully, for those of you who are sports fans, you can join us on both. But there you go. That will be happening again next week. All right, guys. With that down, let's get things started here, shall we? We're going to start off this Monday. I mean, Mondays are bummer days anyway, but we're going to start off with really unfortunate news. We lost two great contributors to the movie scene. Kristofferson and John Ashton both passed away on the same day. Kristofferson was 88 years old, I believe. And I think John Ashton was 76 or 78. One of the two.
Yeah, 76.
76. John Ashton, of course, was Taggart in the Beverly Hills Cop. We just saw him on the new Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, just saw him.
Just saw him. And both of them passed away at the same time. For Kristofferson, CBR writes the following. As an actor, Kris Kristofferson debuted in film with a role in the 1972 Cisco Pike. He'd go on to win a Golden Globe Award for his work on 1976's A Star is Born, in which he co-starred with Barbra Streisand. For Marvel fans, he may be better recognized for his role as Whistler. He was such a great Whistler in Wesley Snipes' Blade movie trilogy. He appeared in many other films such as Heaven's Gate, Big Top Pee-wee, Payback, Planet of the Apes, Where the Red Fern Grows, Dolphin Tale, The Star, and Blaze. He also hosted Saturday Night Live and appeared in television shows including The Muppet Show, Stagecoach, The Larry Sanders Show, and Two for Texas. Now, I remember Bradley Cooper when he did his remake.
Right.
His remake.
Remake of a remake.
The remake of the remake.
I think there's been 4 now.
Have there been 4? I was thinking there were 3.
Definitely
You might
3.
be right. There might be 4.
It might be 4.
So here's the thing. Bradley Cooper, when he did his, while he did not try to do a Kris Kristofferson imitation, he was clearly channeling a lot of Kris Kristofferson in his character as well. And like that was the first time I saw, now I was a lot younger, obviously I was a kid, but seeing Kris Kristofferson as an actor, of course he was also a big music star, but as an actor was a long time ago when I sat down and watched a rented VHS of A Star is Born.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for a lot of other people though, like the article mentions, when people think of Kris Kristofferson in movie circles, they're going to think of Whistler.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? For obvious reasons, when we talk about Blade, we talk about Wesley Snipes and we always, all of that. But I'm telling you, those movies would not have been as good without Kris Kristofferson as Whistler. He was a great Whistler. And that, oddly enough, that really weird, awesome dynamic between Whistler and Blade was like Wesley Snipes and Kris Kristofferson.
They worked off each other really well.
They worked off each other beautifully. Yeah. You know what they did? They did what great on-screen duos should be able to do. They made me buy the other character even more.
Yeah.
Kris Kristofferson made me buy into Blade more, and Wesley Snipes made me buy into Whistler. You know? And he was absolutely great in that. And then, of course, like literally 5 minutes later, I read that John Ashton passed away.
Yeah.
Of Beverly Hills Cop fame. And again, I am so glad. Now, I admit I'm one of those guys who kind of poo-pooed the idea of them doing the newest Beverly Hills Cop because we saw what Eddie Murphy did with a new Coming to America, which sucked. But I really like the new Beverly Hills Cop, and I'm so glad that John Ashton had a chance to do that and enjoy seeing the success that had and the response that movie had. Anyway, this comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter, who writes the following. John Ashton, known for playing John Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop and 2 sequels, has died. He was 76. Ashton died Thursday in Fort Collins, Colorado, after a brief battle with cancer, his manager, Alan Sommers, told The Hollywood Reporter. Ashton's Detective Sergeant Taggart appeared in the first 2 Beverly Hills Cop movies in 1984 and 1987. Alongside Eddie Murphy and Judge Reinhold, he returned as the character now promoted to police chief in 2024's Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
They complemented each other well, too. Him and Eddie Murphy, they're both those characters.
Oh, him and Judge Reinhold, too? Like the 3 of them. Like, I actually heard, I remember a lot of people talk, because they did Beverly Hills Cop 3 and whatever, and like a lot of people talked about that absence. Seeing those 3 on screen together again.
It's like they never left.
It was like they never left.
It's like they never left that department.
Yeah, they never skipped a beat either. Like their chemistry with each other all picked right up again.
And just knowing that this he just passed, it's like it makes you appreciate that movie a little bit more. I mean, he didn't do much, but he did a lot for his age.
Yeah,
like he couldn't move that well, but he was still doing a little sliding or whatever and shooting that blaster in that movie. So that was good. That's good to see him do that.
Yeah, and again, I'm so glad he was able to enjoy that big success, that one last big success thing.
I wanted to say just real quick, just going back to Kris real quick. Oh, number 1 there was 4, 1937, 54, 76, and then 2018. So there's 4.
There were 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
So Kristofferson's was the 3rd?
Was the 3rd,
right?
76.
And Bradley Cooper's was the 4th.
And I just wanted to say, I took my mom about 11 years ago, and we got to see him perform at the Troubadour. It was a really cool night. So I'm really glad we both got to see him do that.
Yeah, because I mean, listen, as much success as he had on screen, Kristofferson,
Yeah.
he was a bigger music star.
Sure,
Now
with
music
Willie
is
Nelson
kind of
and-
outside. Yeah, he was the Highwayman. and,
Highwayman, yeah.
like that's completely outside of the scope that we talk
Sure.
about on our show.
I just learned
but
that today too.
that he was a
I
musician.
had no idea. I had no idea. So Jonathan's like, oh, he's a performer too. He's a country music guy, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, things.
Yeah,
in
I
the-
actually think there are a lot of younger people who didn't realize he was also a music star. Like, again, I think a lot of people look at him and saw a Whistler. But, guys, question is for you. What are some of your best memories of Kris Kristofferson and, you know, with the whether it's music or acting or whatever, and John Ashton, both, at least the news of them passing away came out all just within a couple of hours of each other, which was really like a double gut punch. But guys, what's your favorite memory of these performers? Whatever you guys think about, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, when we talk about coming into the age of streaming and cable cutters, we're thinking about like getting rid of your cable company. Lest we forget, there's another side to television. The dish people.
Yeah.
I've never been a dish person myself. I've always either gotten the hard coax cable or whatever, but dish has been hurting as much, if not more, than regular cable. And now DirecTV, there are two main players in the dish kind of thing. There's Dish and there's DirecTV. Well, news just came out that DirecTV is acquiring Dish and taking over Dish to make one Dish on Your Roof company. And they're more than that now, but still. For over $9 billion. Is it even worth $9 billion anymore? I don't know. But this comes to us from Variety, who said this. Under the terms of the purchase agreement, DirecTV will acquire, this is really interesting, EchoStar's video distribution businesses, including Dish TV and Sling TV. By the way, Sling TV, like I use YouTube TV now.
Uh-huh.
Sling TV was my first service that I used so I could replace cable and just watch all my television online.
Mm-hmm.
Sling TV was a good little service, actually.
The original.
Yeah, I think I just got rid of it because there were a couple of channels that I really wanted that they didn't have. And I kind of bounced around a little between services. I ended up at YouTube TV, but I really like Sling TV. Anyway.
Go ahead.
So they're acquiring Dish TV and Sling TV in exchange for $1. Well, why $1? Well, because here's the catch. Plus the assumption of the Dish unit's net debt with a total face value of approximately $9.75 billion. The companies expect the deal to close in the fourth quarter of 2025. Okay, so Dish was in debt $9.75 billion. How does one get to a point that you are actually in debt $9.75 billion?
I've tried to explain to my wife a number of times.
She just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Just doesn't get it. I need those pop figures. I need them, baby.
That's way too much money to be
Like,
spending on.
I mean, I get it. You don't notice the debt when it's just $3 billion,
Yeah.
but so $9.75 billion in debt. So basically Dish is coming along, or DirecTV is coming along and saying, you know what, we'll give you $1, but we will take over all your debt. We'll take over all the debt. And apparently Dish said, deal. Now, it also goes on to say that they're not expecting the FTC, because some people I've already seen in the chat, like, isn't that going to be like a monopoly with the Dish services? Isn't that anti-competitive? Isn't the government going to have a problem with this? And here's the thing. They said this. The deal requires U.S. regulatory approvals, including antitrust clearance. Analysts have said that they expect a DirecTV Dish combination to win approval by regulators, given the dramatic decline in the traditional pay TV biz as consumers have cut the cord and flocked to streaming services. DirecTV CEO Bill Morrow told Wall Street Analysis on a Monday call that third-party data shows that there would be no loss of competition because nobody uses it anymore.
Yep.
Through the merger, even rural areas in the U.S. Now, it goes on to say this. Together, Direct and Dish would have around 18 million customers. A total, get this, that is down 63% from their peak levels in just 2016. Just 8 years ago. These guys had 63% more combined subscribers than they will now. This is a dying business. That DirecTV sees some value in. I mean, Sling TV in and of itself has got some value, but they're willing to take over $9.75 billion in debt. And I agree with the analysis here. The FTC, the regulatory bodies are going to have no problem with this because, again, this isn't anti-competitive. This isn't bad for because there is no business anymore.
It's not a
They're
growing
trying to
market.
survive. It's like their last ditch effort to
Yeah.
maintain some sort of hold.
Some kind of business.
Yep.
And maybe this is a good move for DirecTV. Maybe it's not. I mean, listen, the one thing I'll always be grateful to DirecTV for and stuff like that, and companies of their ilk, is that, you know, when I was a kid, well, I was in high school, my mom and dad bought the Campea Ranch, and they decided they wanted to move, so they moved 45 minutes outside of town, bought 200 acres, established the Campea Ranch. Yeehaw! You've been there, Ray, right?
Yeah, of course.
You came out to the Campea Ranch, took some rides on some ATVs and saw the horses and whatnot, but it's their own little Yellowstone. But they had no cable service out there. And the only way Mama Campea could get her entertainment is if they slapped that dish on the roof. So I will always be very grateful that they were able to provide that. I think that's great. I just don't know if there's much of a use for it anymore. I mean, I think I get acquiring it, but $9 billion more of an investment into a business that has declined 63%. Now, clearly DirecTV is going to have some other ideas and new strategies and maybe some new directions. I mean, now you can get DirecTV without even having a dish now.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Right.
because
So,
that's
like-
it's cable, and actually, like how I get DirecTV is, it just comes through like internet. You know, like it's web based. You know what I mean? You can get a receiver too, but did I miss something? AT&T isn't like a three-way deal. AT&T is selling off DirecTV and Direct.
Well, no, yeah. So here's the thing. DirecTV is owned by two primary bodies. All right. The one is AT&T that owns 70% of it. The other is a fund company called TPG that owns 30% of the company. AT&T is selling out. So they're going to sell their 70% to the other owners, TPG, who will acquire AT&T share. So TPG now, instead of being a partner in DirecTV, they will own DirecTV in total. And then as a whole company, DirecTV, they are purchasing Dish for $9.75 billion
Gotcha.
in debt.
Yep.
So, I mean, good on them. I hope it works. I mean, good competition is good for everybody. And so if they could survive and find a way to thrive, I mean, again, that'll be good for everybody. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Have you been at some point, maybe not now, but at some point, have you been a customer of either Dish or DirecTV? Does one taking over the other, do you think that gives them a lifeline and maybe will offer some hope for the survival of this company? Do you think it's too little too late? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? With all the problems that I have with AMC theaters, and they are legion, they're still my movie theater going of choice. I still go to AMC theaters more than anybody else, and I still contend that AMC A-List is the single greatest thing that's ever been invented for movie fans. As much as we all, including myself, complain about the cost of going to the movies, for $25 a month, I get to go up to 12 movies a month. That's crazy. And I take advantage of that. Now, here's the problem, though. Some people, I won't name names,
Right.
will use their A-list to get a ticket, make a reservation, and then never show up to the theater. They just go, I'm too busy now, or I don't feel like it. And they think to themselves, I got it really for free anyway. I mean, after paying my membership fee, I got it for free anyway, right?
Because it's all about them.
Yeah.
Right. So AMC has just put out an email to their Stubs and A-List subscribers,
Yep.
letting them know, hey guys, If you do that a bunch, we're going to cancel your membership and you're not going to get reimbursed.
Dang.
Now, this was in the email that they sent out. This is in the AMC Terms of Service and Agreement. This is a new update they just put in. You understand that tickets reserved using A-list membership are intended to be used. And 4 unscanned reservations within 4 weeks may result in our sole judgment in cancellation of a membership for cause and without a prorated refund. We also may cancel a membership for cause in the event of misuse, fraud, or violations of these terms and conditions. If we cancel the A-list tier or your membership without cause, we will, in our discretion, either continue your membership through the end of the current membership period or provide a refund of a prorated portion of the membership fee plus applicable taxes based on the unexpired portion of your current membership period as the effect date of cancellation. All right, so basically speaking, you make a reservation with A-list and then don't show up. Okay, you do that 4 times, we may cancel your membership. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this today. I got this email yesterday. I wasn't going to talk about this today, but I had one of our members write to me today, and they were kind of irate. Can you believe this? Like, if I can't show up to a movie, I can't show up to a movie. This is ridiculous what AMC is doing. And they're very, very cool. They've emailed me before. They're great. But I said back to them, I think shocked them. I said, yeah, AMC may cancel your membership if you skip 4 times. And guess what? They should. Because here's the thing. You guys know a lot of times people write into me and say, John, how with AMC A-List and with Regal Unlimited and all that kind of stuff, how do the movie theaters make money? Or how do the studios get any money? Well, and we explain. When you use A-List, it counts. It goes on the books in the accounting as a movie ticket purchase. And the amount of that purchase is, at least the last time I checked, whatever the average amount for the average movie ticket in America is. For right now, let's, for argument's sake, say that's $12. So it goes on the books as a $12 movie ticket sale. Now, you guys know, because you are educated film fans, because you watch the John Campea Show, that the movie theaters not keep the money from a movie ticket purchase. They roughly get to keep about 1/3 of it, but the other 2/3, in this case, $8. So the theater will keep for a $12 movie ticket, they'll keep $4, but the other $8 has to get sent back to the studios and distributors. AMC as a movie theater's got to account for that money. So even though you didn't use cash to buy your ticket, you used A-List. By you using A-List to make a reservation, AMC has to cut a check for $8 and send it off to the studios and distributors. So if you don't even bother showing up, you just go, I'm going to book this movie and this movie and this movie and this movie, and you never show up. Every time you do that, it's literally costing AMC money. Then you might think, well, how does AMC make any money out of this? Easy. I show up and then I buy some damn popcorn. I don't have to buy popcorn, but they know me. I'm going to show up and I'm going to buy popcorn, and I'm probably going to buy some Reese's Pieces, and I'm definitely going to get a soda. So they're fine. AMC's fine. You show up, they send off the $8, and they probably are going to make a little extra scratch off you from the concession stand. It's a win-win for everybody. But when we don't show up, they make no more money from us.
Right.
And they still have to send off money to the distributor. This is one of those times, and everybody knows I am maybe AMC's harshest critic. And they still have a jackass as a CEO, in my opinion. But this is one of those situations where I have to say, guys, AMC is completely right here. Like, when you get something as good as A-List, as a member, I have a responsibility to use it properly. And because I win, A-List saves me so much money every month, it's not even funny. Like, it is crazy how much money A-List saves me.
Yeah.
And so it's a simple responsibility of membership. If you're going to use it to make a membership, and all AMC asks, they put this in their email as well, is like, hey, we understand sometimes you make plans to go to a movie and then you can't go. All we ask is that you use your app and cancel your reservation.
Right. It's not like, it's not, let's not get it confused. And it's not like if you have 4 cancellations, they rescind it. It's just, if you make the reservation and just don't show up, you can just hit cancel reservation.
Exactly.
And you're good.
And the AMC's good. They don't have to send a check then to the distributor. You're good. AMC's good. Everybody's fine. All they're asking is that, like happened to me, I was supposed to go see Wild Robot the other day.
Right.
And I just realized, you know what? I'm not feeling good. I probably should just stay home. So what did I do? I picked up my phone, cancel reservation.
I just did it today for the Joker. I was going to see it Wednesday at 4, but guess what? We're going to be wrapping up the movie talk or the John Campea show Wednesday
next
at 4
Wednesday.
next week. Yeah.
Next Wednesday. I'm
Yeah.
going to go see Joker tonight.
Okay. Nice.
They've got some advanced fan screenings for it tonight. So Ann and I are going to go see Joker 2 tonight. But anyway, guys, that's the whole could do. Again, I wasn't even going to talk about it, but I read some people were kind of irate. Like, why is AMC doing this? Well, here's why. Hopefully that made sense. Guys, question is for you. Are you an AMC A-list member? If you live near an AMC and you're a movie fan, I cannot recommend. You're just throwing money away if you don't have A-list. I really think the program is that good. And if you are, what do you think about AMC saying, look, we're going to crack down if you keep making reservations and don't show up because that's going to kill us. Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about some box office stuff. Megalopolis, Megaflopolis, as many of you guys kept writing it. It crashed harder than they were even expecting. Also, Transformers 1 continues to struggle huge at the box office, despite the fact that it's a fantastic movie. Wild Robot is doing great, though. And Penguin Episode 2 dropped, and it has not lost an ounce of momentum. We're going to talk about all those things and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank a couple of sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Miracle Made and the Dollar Shave Club. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Miracle Made. Guys, it's hot outside and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. So if you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. There are just so many things that make these sheets so fantastic. We already mentioned the self-cooling properties for better quality sleep, but they're also self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. So go to trymiracle.com/Campea. That's TRYMIRACLE.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Dollar Shave Club. Hello there, my fellow handsome gentlemen. Nice face you shaved there. Whether you're going smooth shaven or maintaining a beard, Dollar Shave Club offers shave and grooming products that are always high quality, but never overpriced. If you like to wet shave for that clean, close shave, they've got the Club Series 6 Blade Razor. A shave so comfy your skin will take a nap. 6 stainless steel blades for our closest and most comfortable shave, with a vitamin E infused lubricant strip for comfort and glide and precision trimmer for precise detailing. Their amazing shave butter, clear view, smooth glide, designed for precision. Shave butter is a translucent shaving cream alternative that allows you to see exactly where you're shaving. Bonus, it has long-lasting lubrication that helps soften whiskers for maximum glide and leaves your skin feeling hydrated. But don't take our word for it. Try it for yourself. You can visit their site right now for 20% off $20 or more and get your products delivered right to your door. Visit dollarshaveclub.com/Campea and use promo code Campea for 20% off $20 or more. And remember, however you shave, Dollar Shave Club is here to help you stay handsome. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made and the Dollar Shave Club for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's go on to this. Francis Ford Coppola is going to go down in history as one of the greats, making two of arguably the greatest films. Some would say the absolute greatest films of all times, because a lot of people in certain film cinephile circles, the debate is only, is Godfather 1 the greatest movie of all time, or is Godfather 2 the greatest movie of all time? That's how important, that's how iconic, that is how legendary Francis Ford Coppola is, and nothing is going to change that. Well, of course, he had a passion project, the new movie Megalopolis, that he sold part of his vineyard, or sold his vineyard and used part of the proceeds of that to make his $120 million passion project. Now, things didn't look good early on. We remember we talked about this months ago. They played it for distributors at an industry event, and the distributors were like, what the fuck is this? And they were literally like, we don't know how to sell this. Like, what is this? And a lot of whispers started going around. Then they had that fiasco where they put out that trailer using fake critic quotes and stuff like that. Yeah. They got caught using it and all that kind of stuff. And the worry was, and I said, nobody's going to go see this movie. And they projected about $6 or $7 million, which is nothing. But apparently it made less than nothing. It made $4 million in its opening weekend. This comes from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. Ticket sales for Megalopolis were less than initial projections of $5 million to $7 million, which would have been a financially disastrous anyway for the $120 million budgeted film. By comparison, Kevin Costner's mostly self-funded $100 million budget passion project Horizon American Saga Part 1 made almost 3 times as much, with $11 million over its opening weekend before tapping out with $36 million worldwide. As a result, plans for release of Part 2 were indefinitely paused. Guys, last week we talked about Transformers 1. A great movie, which we're going to talk more about in just a minute, but a great movie that cost $70 million to make. And we talked about how it flopped, making only, what did we say, $25 million opening weekend?
Yes.
Like a $70 million film opening to $25 million. And we said, this sucks because this movie's great, but it kind of fell on its face. Imagine you paid $50 million more than that and made 5 times less. This seriously has got to be a top 10 biggest flop of all time. Now remember, I'm not talking about the quality of the movie. All right. I'm not saying anything about the quality of the movie. I'm just talking about the straight up numbers of the movie. And the straight up numbers are, this is a $120 million film.
Plus marketing.
Plus marketing.
Oh, plus distribution, because they paid the distributors.
Yeah, they had to, whereas normally in movies, distributors pay the filmmakers for the right to distribute. Since nobody would wanted to distribute Megalopolis, the producers, Francis Ford Coppola, had to pay distributors to distribute it. That's not how the business works.
Ever.
Like, this was unheard of. Like, I'm sure maybe it's happened before.
Yeah.
But it certainly doesn't happen often. For this movie that they had to pay distributors to distribute, $120 million production budget, whatever the marketing budget cost on top of that, this thing made $4 million. What is or was the biggest flop of the year? Borderlands. Ray, how much did Borderlands make in its opening weekend?
8.6 million.
8.6.
Yep.
The biggest flop of the year. It made more than double than Megalopolis did.
Oh, boy.
What? I want us to sit in the corner and think about what we did. I want you to think about this for a second. Borderlands. More than twice as many people went out to go see it than went to go see the new Francis Ford Coppola movie. Now, I'm laughing and stuff like that. Lest any of you think I take joy in this. I really don't. I want to see every movie succeed. I do. Movies I don't like, I want to see succeed because that means other people enjoyed it. Movies I love, like Transformers 1, I obviously want to see those succeed. I want a god of the industry like Francis Ford Coppola to succeed. But I mean, what can you do in the face of tragedy but laugh? This thing made $4 million. $120 million budgeted film made with Giancarlo Esposito, with Adam Driver, with Aubrey Plaza, with Lawrence Fishburne. It made $4 million, guys. That means less than about 500,000 people went to go see Megalopolis. Less than 500,000 people went to go see Megalopolis. If you want a real context for how bad that is, more people watched the John Campea Show last week.
And we didn't make no $4 million, or if we did, I didn't hear about it.
$20 million on it. More people watched the John Campea channel. More people watched the John Campea channel last week than went to go see Francis Ford Coppola's new movie. I mean, Madam Web. Some people are saying it's like Madam Web. Madam Web blew this out of the water.
Oh, what I'd give to make Madam Web money.
Oh, to only make Madam Web money. Oh, that Morbius money's looking real good right now.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think, as people break down and do the autopsy, if you will, of Megalopolis, when it's all said and done, I don't think this was film goers rejecting Francis Ford Coppola. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe this is film goers reject Adam Driver. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe film goers are rejecting Giancarlo Esposito. I don't believe that's true. What I do think is true, and I bring this up all the time with different movies, and everybody always says I'm crazy, but time after time after time, it's proven to be right. You got to tell the damn audience what your movie's about. You got to tell, like, I watched the trailers for Megalopolis. I had no freaking idea what that movie was about. Now, apparently a bunch of people who did see the movie still have no idea what the movie's about.
Don't know.
I mean, get this. This goes on to say this in Variety. With poor word of mouth, the film received a D+ on CinemaScore. Guys, when's the last time you ever heard of a movie getting a D+ on CinemaScore? I can't remember. I'm sure it's happened. Yeah. I'm just saying I cannot ever remember a movie getting a D+ on CinemaScore. I can't remember. Again, I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm sure it has. I'm just saying I can't ever remember that happening. I don't remember the last time a D+ CinemaScore got it. But anyway, with poor word of mouth, received a D+ grade on CinemaScore. Megalopolis opened in 6th place behind 3 holdover titles and the Indian Telugu language action film Devara Part 1. Reviews have been wildly divisive, with the New York Times calling the movie wonderfully out there and the Associated Press saying it's nearly impossible to digest in a single baffling viewing. But again, I just want to go back to the marketing of it. The whole marketing of it, when you try to market a movie, it's like, look how artistic this thing is. People will not go. There's a reason why the great Denis Villeneuve's masterpiece, Blade Runner 2040, what the hell is it? What's that?
2049.
2049. Why that masterpiece of a movie, nobody went to go see it. Why? Because the marketing never told anybody what the movie was about. Mm-hmm. Look, everybody, we're back in the world of Blade Runner. Great. So what's this movie about? Don't you worry about it. All you need to know is that we're back in the world of Blade Runner. Oh, well then screw you then. I don't need to come to your movie.
Which wasn't a financially successful film to begin with. So.
Yeah, which the original wasn't to begin with. Right? But we've seen more and more. We've seen several circumstances where like a movie gives, like that freaking one with Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, Mother.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Which was awful. But again, the trailers are just like, look how artistic this movie is. Nobody cares. People want to know, is this going to be a fun, engaging, movie? What's this movie about? Just tell me what it's about. Don't give me away the spoilers. Tell me what the movie's about. The trailers for this were all over the place. There was nothing in those trailers. The only thing that was going to attract people to go see this is that you put the great name of Francis Ford Coppola on it. That's it. You should have made trailers that were telling people what it was about. And therefore, nobody went to go see it. People didn't like it. And $120 million movie, guys, that made $4 million on its opening weekend. And spoiler alert, it's not going to pick up steam. There's not going to be some big Avatar-like word of mouth where the box office actually goes up. It ain't going to happen. This is ruination.
No turnaropolis for them.
Yeah, no turnaround.
what?
Uplift.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that was really bad. I apologize. Monday, baby.
Monday. It's just, and it's heartbreaking to see. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now. I really hope, because I hate it when guys like Kevin Costner and Francis Ford Coppola bet on themselves and put their money where their mouth is. These guys should be applauded for this and put their own money up to make their movies and get punished for it.
But here's my thoughts on that.
What's that?
I mean, it's not about, yes, it is dangerous to use your own money. But the problem is that I think they were surrounded by yes men, and it was only their vision. And it was sort of like Lucas.
There was
with
nobody there to
prequels.
tell them no.
There was no one to tell them no, and I think that was a big mistake. They should have still had people they could trust, and I don't think they had a consigliere on those.
And that's what you need. You really do. I mean, in using Francis Ford Coppola verbiage, you need a consigliere. You need a wartime consigliere. You need somebody who is there to be honest with you and whatever. But I mean, here's what I really hope. I really hope that Francis Ford Coppola is able to pick himself off the mat, lick his wounds, and make another movie, a $30 million, $40 million movie. Because I don't want, look, his legacy is already secure. He's the frickin' man who made The Godfather. All right. American Zoetrope. He's the man. So that's fine and everything, but I don't want his last time in the ring to be Megalopolis. I really hope he makes one more. It doesn't have to be his greatest movie of all time, but I would love it if he could end his career on a high note rather than something. He deserves better. He deserves more.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he'd be willing to do that, but I wouldn't blame him at all if he said, screw this.
Megalopolis 2.
Yeah, I mean, build that franchise, man. Build that franchise and then do spin-offs. Do a spin-off of Aubrey Plaza's character when she was young, when she was a kid, right? Do a prequel.
Yeah.
Anyway. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, everybody knew that it wasn't going to do well, but I mean, it did even worse than people were saying. $120 million budgeted movie that made $4 million on its opening weekend, and it's not going to get any better. How do you guys feel about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm seeing Peter Puffer in the live chat is saying Megalopolis extended cut.
That'll save it.
Oh yeah, on Netflix, director's cut.
That's going to explain it all.
Re-released it in theaters.
8 hours long.
Call it extended and the director's cut.
Yep.
And bring it on back. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, I absolutely love Transformers 1. Loved it. I thought the movie was brilliant. I think it's I don't think it's going to be probably a top 5 best movie of the year, but it is the Transformers movie I had been waiting my whole life for. And when I saw it, I was so overwhelmed with it and just filled with joy. And I was really hoping it could make the upper end of its projection, which was around 40 million was the upper end. It was like 30, 40 million. Instead, it made $25 million on its opening weekend. Which isn't the worst thing in the world. Could have made Megalopolis money. And it was a $70 million film, $75 million film. But still, that's not the opening weekend box office they were hoping for. And I remember when that happened, I said, well, we can at least keep our fingers crossed that maybe what happened with Elemental, because remember, Elemental didn't have a good opening weekend, but then word of mouth started getting out that this movie's really good. And then the box office just had legs, ultimately ended up making almost $500 million. It's a really great success story, Elemental, and it's a great movie. Couldn't have happened to a nicer movie. Watch it if you haven't yet. So I'm like, maybe the same thing can happen for Transformers? Survey says no, Bob. No. Because Transformers 1 on its second weekend took a 62% drop.
That's tentpole like drop levels.
Yeah, that's if you made $100 million.
Yeah.
You take a 62% drop because everybody's already seen it. Nobody saw Transformers. And apparently the word of mouth, as positive as it is, as positive as the reviews are and all that kind of stuff, was not enough to motivate people to go see it because it made $9.3 million in its second weekend, a 62.2% drop, which brings Transformers 1 worldwide box office.
Worldwide.
To $72 million.
Starting to cut into its budget though, at least.
Yeah,
So,
but like for those people who are saying, well, wait a minute, John, that's not bad. You just said it costs 70 to 75 million dollars. Yeah, but you're forgetting two things. You still got to add the marketing budget, which I think was around 40 to 50.
wow.
And then that $71.9 million it made. Yeah, take off 1/3 of that because that 1/3 stays with the movie theaters. So this 71, I'm not going to do the math, but I'm saying rough, let's just say it's probably about 50 million.
It is about 50.
50, 49, 48 million dollars. So they're probably going to have to make 100, 110 million just to get the production budget and the marketing. You're talking about a movie that probably needs to make somewhere around 180 million dollars to break even. And spoiler alert, it ain't going to do it. People who were going back to the movie theaters this weekend and felt like seeing an animated film, but apparently they wanted to go see The Wild Robot. Now we'll talk about that in just a second. But I cannot express my heartbreak more over this. I don't like to see any movie flop, even if it's movies I don't like, because I like to see the industry doing well. I want to see people being successful, and movies I don't like, somebody else liked it, and I want them to have the movies that they enjoy succeed, even if it's movies I don't like. But I really hate it when the movie comes out that is so good, because let me bring this up here. Let's see, Transformers 1 Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I just want to double check to see where everything's sitting, but as of right now, look at that.
That's stellar.
I mean, that's the right word. These are stellar numbers. 88% critic reviews, 98% audience score. 88% critic reviews, 98% audience score. You can't ask for anything better. The movie's great. And it really saddens me when I see any movie, but particularly movies that they clearly did a great job making it. The director of the film, same guy who directed Toy Story 4, did a magnificent job making this film. And people walked out happy and smiling. And me, I've been buzzing about it ever since I saw it. And it did terrible. Terrible.
Come on, Charles.
That's my Charles Barkley.
Terrible.
It's not a great Charles Barkley, granted.
Good enough.
But it's a Charles Barkley. All right. So that's one side of this weekend's box office story. The other side of the story is The Wild Robot. Wild Robot, which just a month or two ago, some projections were saying it was only going to make about 20 million opening weekend because it's an unknown IP, right? Apparently it's based on a children's book. I've never heard of it.
There's three. Yeah, there's 3 books.
Right. I just never heard of them.
Right.
So whatever. I thought 20 million will be fine if it did. It almost doubled those initial projections. Movie ended up making $35 million on its opening weekend. A movie that was not expected to do that well. And I want us to put this into perspective. Wild Robot made significantly more money on its opening weekend than a Transformers globally recognized decades-long IP in Transformers 1 did. Transformers 1 made $25 million. Wild Robot made $35 million opening weekend. Now, again, according to the numbers, I'm going to bring this up. Wild Robot Rotten Tomatoes, because the numbers on Wild Robot are also stellar. 98% critic reviews, 98% audience reviews.
Wow.
Man,
I've heard some people.
I rarely see that hot logo.
Yeah, I mean
verified hot.
that's just crazy. There are some people in movie circles who literally think this is the greatest animated movie ever made.
Wow.
Ooh.
The art just looks beautiful.
I mean, look, we've all been in love with it. Again, I still haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to see it tonight because I'm going to see Joker. And I'm not going to see it tomorrow night because I'm going to go see Hans Zimmer in concert. So I'm hoping Wednesday I'm going to get it. Couldn't see it this weekend because Ann didn't want me to see it without her, and she was off on a trip. So hopefully Wednesday I'll finally get to see Wild Robot. But, I mean, there are a couple of people. First of all, everybody I've talked to who's seen it is losing their minds for it. They're saying, race is over. Give best animated film of the year to this thing. It's done. It's in my best Vince Carter. It's over.
It's over.
It's over. They're saying it's done. Just give this thing the Academy Award right now. 98% critic, 98% audience rating. And everybody I'm talking to who's seen it gushes about this film. And I just want to point out, listen, if you're an animation fan, this is a great week because you've got two great animated films out there right now. You got Transformers 1, you got The Wild Robot. And there's even a few handfuls of theaters across the states that still is playing Inside Out 2. So, hey,
crazy, I know.
You want a triple header of some great animation? There you go. 3 of them. So what is a great weekend for The Wild Robot is a very sad weekend for Transformers. Guys, listen, I don't think we're going to get a sequel. Again, my only hope for Transformers 1, because remember, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what was the name of it?
Mutant Mayhem.
Mutant Mayhem. Did not do well at the box office, but everybody who saw it loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Paramount has the vision to say, you know what? We know the first one didn't make any money, but everybody who saw it loved it. And we believe if we make a second one of equal quality, it will be profitable because more people are going to come out. So they have greenlit and confirmed that Mutant Mayhem 2 is coming. They're doing another one. My hope is they have that same vision for Transformers 1. That they look at the critic numbers, they look at the audience response and say, you know what? Okay, this one didn't make a lot of money. We're still recovering and licking our wounds from Michael Bay driving the reputation of Transformers into the dirt. But we think people loved this movie, and maybe if we make another one, it will do better financially. That's my only hope, because otherwise, I don't think we're going to see it. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about these? Are you as heartbroken as me over the utter box office failure of Transformers 1? Because I think the movie's great. And what do you think about Wild Robot exceeding expectations, which is wonderful? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? The new episode of Penguin dropped yesterday. Now, you guys remember I gushed over the first episode. I couldn't believe how good it was. I am still kind of dumbfounded by how good Penguin is. So I was expecting, I'm going to be honest, I was expecting a little bit of a drop-off. So just a little bit of the drop-off come episode 2. It did not happen. There was no drop-off. First of all, going into it, like everybody else, I was just like, I cannot wait to see Colin Farrell. He was so good in The Batman, and he is brilliant in this. But the early reviews from the show said, you know what? Kristen Milioti?
Milioti, yeah.
They say she may steal the show. I'm thinking they're just being nice. They're just being nice. Oh my God, they're not just being nice. We could tell in episode 1, she was fantastic. This episode, she owns. And seeing her and Colin Farrell playing off each other is amazing. And by the way, you guys know I'm a big Sons of Anarchy guy. It's my second all-time favorite show. Theo Rossi, Juice, who, by the way, is not a stranger to comic book movie stuff. Remember, he was in the Netflix why am I forgetting the name of the show? The Netflix Marvel show, not Daredevil, not Punisher.
Not Luke Cage, not Iron Fist.
Luke Cage.
Okay,
Luke Cage. Yeah, Luke Cage.
Runaways.
Not Runaways, no.
Yeah.
He was in Luke Cage, so he's no stranger to the comic book material as well. I really like Theo Rossi. It was great seeing him pop up in here. But anyway, she Absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I love about this Penguin show is what a lot of other screen storytellers fall into this trap. When they start telling the story about a villain, they try to automatically make them sympathetic. Like, they're not that bad. Morbius is a good guy. Craven is actually a good guy. So on and so forth, right?
Right.
While they are telling Oz's story, and they certainly humanize him, for sure. Like, show his stuff. He's a guy who loves his mother. He loves his mother. What they don't do with the Penguin is ever let us be in any misconception. He's a villain.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bad person. He's a dick. And he does awful, awful things. Sometimes to people who deserve it. Sometimes to people who don't deserve it. He is a bad guy. And this show doesn't make any gray area with that. We can understand him. We can humanize him. We can get his motivations and stuff like that, what drives him. We can see a part of his humanity. But make no mistake, the Penguin show says, this is a villain. This is a horrible, horrible person doing horrible, horrible things. And we can't take our eyes off it.
You know why? Because he's doing horrible, horrible things to horrible, horrible people right now.
Right now.
So we're like, okay, this is cool. Once he becomes that, once he ascends and he starts hurting the innocence of Gotham, we're going to be like, Batman, knock this guy out.
But again, that's the thing to him. Doesn't matter if they're innocent or not. When whoever he's got to step on, whoever he's got to shoot in the face,
Yeah.
whoever is standing there between him and what his goal is, it just so happens that right now the show isn't putting a lot of purely innocent people, but the show's making it clear. You could have a sweet angel-faced child. If she's standing between him and what it is he wants, dusting her.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing you get. But there's something so magnetic about the way Colin Farrell is playing this, the way you see his plan unfolding. And it's great because in both episodes, they keep us on our toes, because how we thought episode 1 was going, and then they have the revelation of his plan at the very end. You're like, oh, this episode kind of does the same thing. I thought, oh, he's going to do this. Oh, he did that. Like, you're showing that he's self-obsessed. He's like got delusions of grandeur, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, man, he's smart. He's smart. He comes across as an idiot who thinks he's smart. Then you realize, no, he's actually smart. He's impulsive. He's angry.
That's it.
He acts off the car. He's all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He can't control his impulses, all that. But beneath it, dude's smart.
Yeah.
And Milioti, Sophia. I don't know that there's been a screen villain I've seen there I felt as much as I would never want to get in this person's way. I would rather get on Batman's bad side than her bad side. I would rather be on Batman's bad side than her bad side.
Well, yes. Because one's broken bones, one's shot in the head. It's a little different.
And a lot of things happening before you get shot in the head.
I love that scene, and this isn't really a spoiler, but when her old friend was like, oh, we should get together.
Oh, so brilliant.
And it was just like, yeah, oh, well, she's very accepting of her and her past. And then when she goes, oh, this is my daughter, and she's like,
then she realizes it clicks.
Yeah.
And then the conversation with her uncle later, they just confirmed what she had already figured out.
Yeah.
And that whole thing is like, because this part is in a trailer, but when she says to Oz, it's like, yeah, all these old men telling me what to do. Now I'm going to take it all from them. And you know, she is. And like, she does such a great job. Milioti is doing such a great job of portraying power and brokenness.
Right.
This girl's broken. I mean, she's not just broken because she's a psycho, and she is a psycho. She's also broken emotionally. Like, she legitimately loved her brother. And just the nuances. And there's this scene, Jonathan and I were talking about this before the show. This doesn't give anything away at all.
No, nothing at all.
If you haven't seen the episode yet, it's the little details. There's a scene where Penguin is just crossing the street. He's just crossing the street. And a car's going as he's crossing the street, and there's this little delay and like confusion about, are you going or am I going? It's just, it means nothing, but it's such a little detail that really highlights that they pay attention to the little details in this show.
It's something you would see in like Mean Streets or something Scorsese would do, where it's just like it humanizes the character.
Yes, it's a Scorsesean device.
Yeah, it humanizes the character.
Oh, and it makes it feel more like a world we live in.
Right.
Now, I've seen a lot of people online going, well, with this gang war going on, where's Batman?
Well,
You know what? Without ever addressing it, the show answers that question. Remember, Batman is in year 2 or 3 of his career at this point. Gotham just went through a massive catastrophe with the breaking of the dams and the levees. And they make sure that we are always hearing in the news and the reports go on in the background, crime is up 50% in the city. These areas are being devastated. People are suffering, blah, blah, blah. Where's Batman? He's taking care of other shit right now.
yeah, how would he know what's happening in a mansion upstate?
Yeah, he's not worried about the white collar crime going on right now. He's worried about stopping this guy from mugging this woman and hurting this woman. He's worried about getting these people out of the water. Batman is doing Batman things. There's nothing over here for him to be concerned about right now. And again, remember, this is still a relatively inexperienced Batman. So it's like, where's Batman? He's dealing with the 500 other catastrophes going on in Gotham right now that need his immediate attention a little bit more than some mob squabbling right now. Right. That's way off his radar right now.
People are saying, well, this is a week after the Batman, but not anymore. It started off a week after the Batman, but days have gone by in the series, and we're only in episode 2. So it's moving forward.
Yeah, and again, I just think they've done such a great job of, without directly saying it, because a lesser filmmaker and storyteller could go, well, let's have Johnny Vitti talking to, Uncle Falcone. Man, it sure is a good thing that Batman hasn't been sniffing around our business. Yeah, thank goodness he's dealing with all the crime down in the whatever area that's getting flooded the most. Phew, you can say that again. No. That's what a lesser, untalented filmmaker would do. They explain it without directly explaining it. Little news radio, crime's up all over the place. People in Gotham are suffering. Batman's got enough to deal with. And it would feel so forced if all of a sudden Batman showed up.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad they're doing it this way. It feels great. It feels gritty and rough. And episode 2 was every bit as good as episode 1.
Yeah. I wanted to quickly touch on what you kind of summarized. It's like, sometimes I have to catch myself and say, like, stop thinking this guy's just a bumbling street level guy, that eventually he'll become the Penguin we know. He is the Penguin we know. It's just he's not in a position.
Vitti actually refers to him as Penguin in this
He's not
episode.
in a position of great power yet. That's the
Right.
difference. And he shows these moments, not only of his brilliance, but just like, look at this expression. That's the Penguin we're going to be really afraid of. That's the one who starts to let out the sociopath and puts the charm aside. So he's getting there. Also, you know what I noticed is this character actor, James Madio. I first saw him in Band of Brothers, but he was also in The Offer. Do you remember him?
I forgot he was in that.
He was in Band of Brothers.
That's right.
I mean,
The Offer.
The Offer, yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
It's a very similar role.
You know who else? I mentioned this before we started. One of my favorite shows the last bunch of years was The Expanse on Amazon. And it was so cool seeing the woman playing Maroney's wife was the president of Earth from The Expanse. I could listen. I don't even know the actress's name. Can you look it up?
Yeah.
But I could honestly listen to this woman just read the phone book. She's got that voice. There's an exotic tone to her voice. And
I remember
the raspiness.
I remember her in a season of.
Is it Deirdre O'Connell?
Might be. I don't know.
She plays. Oh wait, is that?
If she would play something Maroney, would be.
Shora. It's cut off, but its first name is Shora.
Whatever. She's brilliant. She's great, and I love seeing her in there. And see, oh my God, her and Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
That's like a mega couple right there. And so much to love about this. I cannot wait to keep watching this every week.
I know.
Guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see Penguin episode 2 yet? If so, what did you think? Are you as gobsmacked as I am about it? Maybe it's not working for you. Maybe you haven't started watching it yet. I highly recommend it. This thing is awesome. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we are now going to move on to the most important part of our show, of course, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment to thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at The Perfect Jean. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, The Perfect Jean. Okay, so I've got to tell you about The Perfect Jean. These jeans are seriously a game changer. You know that feeling you get when you find a pair of jeans that fit so well that you almost forget that you're wearing them? That's what happened when I tried these. I'm not kidding. They're as comfortable as your favorite sweatpants, and they can slide on like them too, but they still look amazing. Look, as guys, we've all suffered through stiff, uncomfortable jeans, but The Perfect Jean is all about recusing, well, your gentlemanly area. These jeans are soft, stretchy, and they fit like they were custom made just for you. Because they've got an insane range of sizes, whether you're a skinny jeans kind of guy or rocking the bigger look. And they didn't just stop with jeans, they've got the perfect tee as well, with just the right amount of stretch to hide that beer belly, but still make you look great. It's finally time to stop crushing your balls in uncomfortable jeans by going to theperfectjean.nyc. Our listeners get 15% off your first order, plus free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges when you use the code Campea15 at checkout. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with the promo code Campea15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show by telling them that we sent you. F your khakis and get The Perfect Jean. And thank you to our friends at The Perfect Jean for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to the important stuff here. Your comments and questions. Jonathan, what we got up first?
We got Anonymous who says, hey, John, have you seen the Apple TV Plus trailer for Disclaimer? Star-studded cast with an intriguing story. I can't keep up with it, Apple TV Plus's stuff.
I have not. I don't. Let me. What's it called? The Disclaimer?
Yeah, Disclaimer.
Disclaimer, Apple TV. Let's see. No. Oh, wait, is this the one with Cate Blanchett?
Yeah.
Okay, I have heard about this one. Kevin Kline's in it too, if I remember
nice.
correctly. And I love Kevin Kline. So, but I have not seen the trailer for you. I didn't know they dropped a trailer, so I am definitely going to go and check. Listen, Apple TV is almost as good as HBO.
Yeah, it's
like
getting there.
they have been doing such a great job of cranking out wonderful content on a consistent level. Like Netflix puts out a lot of great stuff, but at the expense of also putting out a lot of absolute crap. Whereas HBO and like Apple TV Plus, their success rate is incredibly high right now. So yes, I'm looking very far. I haven't seen the trailer yet, but I will watch it. Thanks for putting it back on my radar, man. All right, what's next?
Wesley Cunningham says, just got out of Megalopolis. What the hell is that? It's not that a lot of it didn't make enough sense. It's that none of it made any sense.
Wow.
Literally like a South Park parody of an insanely self-serious auteur film. I am excessively baffled.
You know, there are going to be people who just don't understand movies that will say, oh, well, the problem is that you didn't understand his vision. Here's my response to that whenever somebody says that. Then you don't get that a part of the talent of a storyteller is being able to communicate that story to their audience. If a whole bunch of people are walking out of the theater going, I did not understand what the hell he was doing, then the problem isn't them. The problem is the storyteller. Because if you can't communicate your story in a way that an audience member can hear and identify what it is you're saying, then that's on you as the storyteller.
Yeah.
And Francis Ford Coppola is one of the best. But everybody's got a bad day at the office, right? If this was Francis Ford Coppola's, then this one was Francis Ford Coppola's. But like, yeah, to anybody who ever say, well, they just didn't get it. Well, then that's on the storyteller. That's their fault. Because being a great storyteller is not being able to come up with a bunch of wild concepts in your imagination. The skill of a storyteller is being able to take those wild concepts in your head and communicate them in such a way that creates a listening or viewing experience for the audience that they can come along with you. And if you lose them, that's on you. That ain't on the audience.
He should have taken a class from David Lynch, because
he talks about that all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Wesley Cunningham back to be more constructive. You could really tell Coppola spent 30 years wanting to make this, but instead of making a library of stories out of 30 years of ideas, he tried to pile 1,000 ideas into one film. Eventually, it just becomes a mountain of random stuff.
You know, I remember I once heard George Lucas say, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, that you can't spend too much time on something. Right?
Right.
He once said, a movie is never complete. It's only finished. Like, you can spend the more time, sometimes you get, if you marinate or work on something too much and for too long, it actually starts to decline. It actually starts to regress. It starts to get worse. And maybe there's something to be said that maybe Francis Ford Coppola has just been thinking about this one too long.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm speculating here. I'm just throwing that out. I'm just spitballing, but who knows? All right, what's next?
We got Suthius. When did y'all get your first flat screen TV? How much did it cost? Mine was mid 2000s in college. I had saved up and got me a little 32-inch Sony Bravia at a whopping $1,300. And I wonder if it was 720p. They're so cheap now. Got me a 50-inch Samsung Crystal UHD this weekend for only $260. Wow.
Dude, I still remember the first flat screen I got. I was living in my little bachelor apartment in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and it was a plasma. It's a plasma! And for those of you who watch The Office, you'll understand that. It was actually a I don't think they don't make plasmas anymore.
Not plasma anymore.
No. But it was a plasma flat screen TV. I think it was the Best Buy brand. What was the name of that brand that goes on the Best Buy stuff? Anyway. And Insignia? I think it was, what's that?
Was it Insignia?
It was Insignia.
Yeah, I know it. And then Target is Westinghouse. Yeah,
well, Westinghouse has been along longer than Target, but it was Insignia. That's what it was. It was an Insignia plasma TV. I think it was 48 inches. And I think I spent somewhere around 15. And I didn't have $1,500, but I was a bachelor, bringing ladies over. I want to have and I loved watching my TV. So I saved up. I bought it like that. And it was crazy. Dude, I bought a 75-inch TV, 4K, all the bells and whistles. I bought that for $790.
Crazy.
And now I've got an 85-inch TV.
Costco sells an 85. It's like an LG. It's like 1,000 or something, but
I bought an 85-inch that's now hanging on my wall for about the same price that I bought that 75-inch for.
Crazy.
Yep. That's the way it works.
Like, the way the prices have come down on these things is crazy. Like, and now you can get, you can get like a 65-inch. I think last time I was in Best Buy, they had like a 65-inch TV for like $375 or something like that. Yep. It is crazy how fast that technology comes down. All right, what's next?
Dr. Stinky. Hey, The Wild Robot is now, in my opinion, the best film of the year so far. It might even be the greatest animated film ever made.
You're not the only person I've heard say that.
I mean, I did not expect a masterpiece. I'm in love with this film. Hope everyone gets a chance to see this film.
You know, I've heard some rumblings. Again, I haven't, Ann was away this weekend. I can't go see it tonight. I can't go see it tomorrow night. So hopefully I'm going to see it Wednesday. But I have heard rumblings that this is going to be the fourth animated film to be nominated for Best Picture in history. The other three, of course, the first one ever was Beauty and the Beast. Got nominated for Best That was the first one ever. And then Toy Story 3 got nominated. And I believe Up was nominated for Best Picture. Only 3 times in history in animated films been nominated for Best Picture. I'm already hearing some rumblings Wild Robot might be the fourth. But whether that happens or not, we'll find out. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Bungo says, one of two. Hey, y'all, I'm not interested in seeing Joker at 2 at all. Did not enjoy the first, and I'm not excited about the musical element. I'm someone who loves comics, musicals, and I enjoy Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix as actors, but something, and by the way, these are both $20
Wow,
tips.
thank you, Bungo. That's
Thank you.
incredibly
So,
generous of you, man. Thank
40
you for
altogether.
supporting us on that level. Appreciate that, dude.
2 of 2. Something about Joker 2 is just putting me off. I went on a date Thursday with someone who's not into comic movies, but she wants to see it. Maybe J2 will do better at the box office than I thought. Anyway, we're both going to see it Thursday.
I'll tell you what, the first trailer they released for Joker 2 was a great first trailer. You know, because first trailers aren't about giving you, here's what the story, no, the first trailers are about giving you a taste of the atmosphere of the movie, about giving you a little sense of the DNA of the film, right? And that first trailer they put out, remember they released it at CinemaCon?
Yep.
Got us all very excited. The problem is none of the other trailers have ever moved beyond that. It's always just been, look, everybody, it's Joker 2. Remember we were just talking about that? About guys, in your marketing campaign, you got to tell the audience, why should you come see this movie? Here's what our movie is about. And the marketing has just not done it. Now, I am somebody who loved the first Joker movie. I loved it. But I've been saying for months that you got to remember, guys, not everybody did. There was a decent number of people who were kind of turned off by the first Joker. That's why I've been saying Joker 2 will not be a billion-dollar film. There's just going to be a lot of people who saw the first one that got turned off by it. I personally loved it. But yeah, I don't think this movie, I don't think it's been a good marketing campaign other than saying, hey, everybody, Joker's back and Lady Gaga's coming this time, which is good, but you still got to have a good marketing campaign. And they have not had a good marketing campaign, in my opinion. And so I think it's going to make money. But whereas before I was saying it ain't going to be $1 billion, and it's not going to be $1 billion like the first one was, I'm thinking it's going to be closer to 500 million.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we'll see. I mean, maybe it's 10 times better than the first one. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm seeing it tonight. I'm very excited about seeing it tonight. I'll definitely put out my out of theater reaction for it. So I'm seeing it tonight. And then maybe if I see it and think it's the best thing ever, maybe I'll think it'll make more. But right now I'm thinking around 500 million. All right, what's next?
Ian McAllister says, after doing a deep dive refresher of Tolkien lore, I think either Pharazôn or the Dark Wizard are going to become the Witch King of Angmar. In earlier drafts of Lord of the Rings, Tolkien said he thought making him either a rogue Ishtar or a man from Numenor. I believe he's a king. He's a king of men. So I don't think he's one of the wizards, the Ishtar. And he did, I believe, come out of the East. So it could be one of the kings from the East. But
yeah, well, I mean, at least in the Jackson iteration,
yeah,
they were kings of men.
Yeah.
And right now, he's a king of men. He's the king of Numenor right now. So it could go that way.
I just don't think it could corrupt an Ishtar because
But also,
it wouldn't have
I don't
corrupted
know-
Gandalf like that.
I don't know that he's going to survive this. Because remember, we know Isildur's father is going to become king.
Right.
So I don't think he's going to become king just because this dude gets a ring, goes crazy, and leaves. I think he's probably going to get overthrown. But, I mean, we'll see how it all works out. All I know is this. This season, and you guys probably are getting sick of hearing me say it, but I don't care. It needs to be repeated. I have never seen a television show turn things around like this show has. Rings of Power is now great. And I say that, you guys know how disappointed I was in season 1. Didn't even care about season 2 because of how disappointing season 1 was. My God, they've turned it around. This show is now a great show. And again, I have never seen a show turn itself around the way this show has from season 1 to season 2. Never seen it done before like this. And they've done a great job with it so far. It's been magnificent. And I get it. There are still people with their biases and their pre-existing axes to grind that I didn't like season 1, therefore it all sucks. I'm more open-minded. I take every movie I see on its own value. I take every season on its own value. And in as much as season 1 was a disappointment, that's how much season 2's been a big win. It's been utterly fantastic. I'm enjoying it so much. And I went from not caring about watching season 2 to now I can't wait to watch season 3. And like episode 7 was such a banger was so good, and I cannot wait for the final episode, so we'll see how it goes. All right, what's next?
Ian follows up. I know making either of them the Witch King would go against book lore, but I think it would be great storytelling and TV. Regardless, so happy the show has got to the point of quality where everyone can speculate and get hyped about it.
Again, I'm just so happy that we're finally starting to see some of the promise that I was hoping would be in season 1. I mean, like, remember, I went to a theater. They did a special event where they showed the first 2 episodes in theaters.
Right.
And Ann and I we went to Anaheim, California to go watch right by Angel Stadium to a Cinemark theater there to watch the first episode of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. And I came out of the theater and I did not have a theater reaction. I said, guys, I'm just about ready to tap out. And there were good moments in season 1. There were some good things in season 1, but overall, like, it was a labor to get through that season. It's like, oh, I guess I better watch the next episode. This year, totally different. This year, I'm counting down the days to, what is it? Thursdays it comes out? To Thursdays.
Yeah.
I'm counting down the days to watch it. And listen, I think right now we got 3 really good genre shows on. Agatha's pretty good. I'm not going to say it's great, but Agatha is better than I thought it would be and is pretty good. Penguin is magnificent. And Rings of Power Season 2 is a vast improvement over Season 1. I'm really happy right now as a TV fan.
And speaking of those premieres, like at the movie theaters, I'm probably going to go to my first one in November. There's a new Dragon Ball series coming out, and they're releasing the first 3 episodes, Fathom Events, on November 10th, I believe. So that'll be my first time ever watching an episodic series like the premiere in theaters.
You know what my last one was?
What?
Before the Rings of Power? Marvel put out the first bunch of episodes of Inhumans in a big theatrical experience.
That didn't help.
Oh my God. I remember I went to go see Inhumans expecting, woo, this is good. Oh my God, this is so bad. I remember coming out of that going, what a colossal waste of time. That show was so bad. It should have been so good and was so bad. But anyway. All right, what's next?
Okay, and Ian just has one last follow-up. I don't think the finale will have the one ring being forged or the 9 being handed out, but I do think it will end with the stranger finding his name, Sauron taking the 9, and maybe the Balrog being unleashed. Any predictions?
That all sounds about right, because remember, we see the Balrog right in the preview.
Glimmer.
So we saw that there. We know Sauron and Galadriel are going to have a fight, so that's probably where he gets his hands on the 9. And I think we're now at the end of 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to get past the stranger.
It's the
just call him Gandalf.
It's
now.
the one hang up I have. It just smells of season 1.
So I disagree. I mean, maybe the Harfoots, but I really like, especially since he met Tom Bombadil. I'm really liking the stuff with him and Tom Bombadil, but it's time, because they showed in the preview for the finale, the Dark Wizard saying, I know who you are. It's time just to put it out there now.
Right.
It's been 2 seasons. I was okay that they didn't do it by the end of season 1, but now at the end of season 2, so yeah, I think all those 3 things. I think Gandalf gets his name. I think Sauron gets the 9. And I think we do see the Balrog starting to wreak havoc in Khazad Dûn. So we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
Anonymous with a $20 tip.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Hey, crew. Finally watched Arcane, and boy, was I missing out. I absolutely love the show. So many great characters with a wonderful yet shocking story. Only 4 episodes in. Very grateful for the recommendation.
Had no interest in it. It is now my all-time favorite animated show.
Nice.
And that's not hyperbole.
Mm-hmm.
In 1 season, Arcane became my all-time favorite animated show.
Netflix,
I think it's
right?
the greatest animated show ever made. It's literally all the story depth and complexity of Game of Thrones, a beautiful animation style, great voice acting, great characters, great intrigue, great twists. It is a masterpiece of a show. Nothing like the video game at all, but is a masterpiece of a show, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. I cannot wait for the next season. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says Wesley Snipes is now the same age Kris Kristofferson was when he first played Whistler.
I still remember. That is a shocking number. I still, you know what the bigger shocker to me was? I think it was a couple of years ago when we said, damn it, what's the name of the guy who played Wesley Crusher?
Guys
in live chat, help us out.
Will
Wheaton.
Will Wheaton.
I think it was last year, 2 years ago, when I said, hey guys, want to feel old? Here we go. Will Wheaton is now older than Patrick Stewart was when they starred on Star Trek The Next Generation together.
Yeah.
Let me repeat that. Will Wheaton is now older than Patrick Stewart was when they did Star Trek The Next Generation. That was the factoid to me that was like, oh my God, I suddenly feel old. Like that was, woo. Or the other one we did a few months ago was, hey guys, just so you know, Viggo Mortensen is now older than Ian McKellen was when they made The Lord of the Rings together. There you go, guys. Just helping you feel a little older now. All right, what's next?
Calvin says, John, I just saw an interview with Kit Connor. He was asked if he would play Hulkling and answer that people would be tired of seeing me and Joe together. They play boyfriends on the Heartstopper. So would this be a confirmation of Wiccan Billy Kaplan?
Nah. Again, I am not saying it's impossible for him to play Bill. And I know there was a toy leak, but those have been wrong before too. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's not. I still don't believe that he's going to end up being Billy. Again, Marvel can, because it's a comic book show, they can make up any ridiculous logic they want. I'm just saying, by logic standards, he shouldn't be Billy. There's no way, because there is no Billy. Billy's not real. The age is completely wrong. Like, there's so many things that just wouldn't make sense. But again, it's Marvel. They may do it. We'll have to wait and see. But no, I don't consider that to be confirmation at all.
He's actually the Stranger.
Again, he's the Stranger. Not saying it's not possible. We very well could tune in the next couple of weeks, and that's exactly who they say it is. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying it makes no sense. So we'll see. We'll find out. All right, what's next?
Okay, Calvin follows up. The fact that Wanda's Hex kids look exactly like the kids in other universes means that there's more to it? Question. Just asked because it looks like they're going in the Avengers, the Children's Crusade route with Billy Tommy from other parents.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't personally think so. By the way, I just got to say, Neon is saying in the live chat, but he exists in the multiverse. Guys, everything conceivable exists in the multiverse. Everything conceivable. You have an alligator Loki in the multiverse. Like saying, well, he exists in the multiverse. Everything that you can possibly imagine exists in the multiverse. So, but I'm saying in that reality, in that world, in that universe, Billy does not exist. He's not real. And even if you want to go with the one that existed in the multiverse, the age is completely wrong from that child we saw in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. It's completely wrong. Well, then it's another. Well, yes. Okay, fine. We're going to have in this universe, Captain America is actually a battery-operated mechanical dildo called Buzzy, the Lord of Lightning Hammers. That's the name for a dildo. The Lord of Lightning Hammers. But I'm Thor.
Can we just clip this out?
In the multiverse.
Can we just clip that out?
Yeah. It exists in the multiverse. So therefore, it's got to be real. Anyway.
Well, with that.
Lightning Hammers. That's the name. What's the name of your dildo? Lightning Hammer. Great.
Oh, boy.
Don't you know what I'm the god of?
Lightning Hammer. Bring forth Lightning Hammer. Anyway, okay. Okay, I'm going to stop now.
Enough.
All right, well, Lightning Hammer says, actually, Rev says, in many ways, the Penguin is everything I wanted the Gotham TV series from 2014 to be. Dark, gritty, really exploring the city as a character in and of itself, apart from Batman. So good.
Yeah, listen, that show, I talk about it all the time. That show, Gotham, had a lot of promise, but it got sidetracked by trying to be a Batman show. Penguin's not being sidetracked by being a Batman movie. It's a Penguin show. And if Gotham, the TV series on Fox, hummed and was firing on all cylinders when it was about Jim Gordon trying to fix a broken Gotham. every time it started to become a Batman show, look, oh, it's this person we know. That's when it always lost its footing. And Penguin is not getting distracted by that. Penguin is not dangling Batman in front of the audience. No, this is a story about the underbelly of Gotham. Yeah, Batman lives there, but this is a story about this. And they're staying focused at least 2 episodes in. And as long as they maintain that focus, I think it's going to be great. All right, what's next?
David says, I remember the other day you noted how you like season 1 of The Office, which I appreciated as someone who does as well. I think it would be really cool segment for you to rank the season sometime if that's something that interests you. Boy, you'd have to go through all the seasons.
Yeah, but then that would take me weeks to go through all of them again. I just know this. I do not understand the criticism of season 1 of The Office. Because I remember I sat down and when Rob and I were going to do that Office Virgin podcast, because he had never seen a single episode, and we watched Diversity Training. Season 1. That's some of the funniest shit I've ever seen on TV. So I personally don't get the criticism of season 1 of The Office. I thought it was banger. I love season 1. I'm not saying it's the best season, but I really, really like season 1 of The Office. That's just me. All right. What's next?
Send Me Your Blade script says, McKellen was interviewed on First Morning and mentioned that he was told Circus Hunt for Gollum's story would be split into 2 films. Even though it's not confirmed by WB, it makes me nervous. I love the Hobbit films for what they are, but its biggest problem lies in the fact that it was stretched too thin for a trilogy. Hunt for Gollum becoming a 2-film project would feel like they're repeating a mistake. Either scenario, I can't wait to return to Jackson's Middle-earth. Just hope they're careful.
From day one, they said there were multiple projects. This isn't new. Them saying, this was always going to be multiple films. Also, you can't compare it to The Hobbit because The Hobbit was a fixed piece of source material that was a book that was only this big. They really shouldn't have split it into 2, but I could understand why they did. They absolutely should not have split it into 3.
No.
You had each Lord of the Rings book, which was this big, being one book, being one movie each, and then a Hobbit book that was this big being split into 3. But that's not the situation with The Hunt for Gollum. This is original story. It can be as huge as they imagine it's going to be, right? So it's a different thing. You can't compare it to The Hobbit because The Hobbit was a pre-existing book that was only this big. Still my favorite book ever, probably, but that was only about this big. But it was always multiple projects. Right from the beginning, it was going to be multiple projects. So there's really nothing new there. But again, don't worry about the comparison to The Hobbit because The Hobbit was source material that was only this big. That's not the case with The Hunt for Gollum and whatever the second film is going to be. All right, what's next?
Callum says, hey, John, I watched Dodgeball over the weekend. Remember, if you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball. Do you think we can get a sequel?
I do know that Vince Vaughn has talked about it for a long time. I think Vince Vaughn wants a sequel. It's getting Ben Stiller on board. That's been the tricky part.
Yep.
But, man, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. I love that movie. And don't forget, Alan Tudyk is in there. What's his name? Pirate...
Steve or
Pirate Steve? Yeah. Steve.
And also,
I love him in that.
Justin Long. Come on.
Justin Long is in it. I love Dodgeball. I hope someday they do another one. I really do. All right. What's next?
We got David. I did something last night I rarely do, which is rewatch a TV episode that was episode 7 of Rings of Power. To be up front, I liked, not loved season 1. Season 2 has just been something else. If they stick the landing, it may be my favorite season after Shogun.
I don't know if I'm that into it. I though am just stunned about the turnaround from season 1. Like I watched season 2. I'm like, why wasn't season 1 done on this level? But again, like the sports analogy, season 1 finished. They went into the locker room. They evaluated what was working and what wasn't working. They went back, drew up a new play. They figured out how to adapt and fix the game plan. And man, they came out in the second half or second season and have just been running rampant, man. They've done such a great job on this show for season 2. And yeah, episode 7 is one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a while. I mean, again, Shogun is Shogun. Shogun's on another level, but yeah, they've done a great job with season 2 so far, man. I'm loving it so far. All right, what's next?
Matan says, in retrospect, Elemental opened like that because all eyes were on Spider-Verse, and Disney marketing advertised it as yet another photorealistic Pixar film where things have feelings.
No, I reject that altogether. I think the biggest there are two big things facing Elemental, okay? The first thing was brand new IP, right? Brand new IP. Ray, double check what Elemental opened with for its opening weekend.
Sure.
So, number one, brand new IP, not a sequel, not a
Outta here.
recognizable franchise like a Toy Story or an Inside Out or an Incredibles or anything like that. So that was one thing. The biggest thing working against Elemental, though, was it was coming off of the back of Bob Chapek dumping 3 of their films direct to Disney Plus in Soul, Luca, and what should have been won the Oscar for the best animated film of the year, Turning Red. 3 movies in a row they just dumped straight to Disney Plus. So already the whole value of Pixar projects came down. And then when they did finally release another film in theaters, it was Lightyear. A movie that started great and got really crappy after the first act. That was the context. That was the environment that this brand new IP that nobody had ever heard of, Elemental, was coming out. Pixar, this is not hyperbole. Pixar was at its weakest that it had ever been. It was a new IP, and it had nothing to do with Spider-Verse. If anything else, Spider-Verse would have buoyed it up. What was the opening weekend for Elemental?
29.6.
29.6.
Yeah.
So that movie went on. That movie went on to make almost $500 million. But no, it had nothing to do with Spider-Man. It really had more to do with the fact that Pixar's IP and reputation was in the worst tatters it had been in a long, long time. And the fact of the matter was that it was just a new movie that looked different. It looked kind of weird, but then word of mouth got out about it and people flocked out to it. All right, what's next?
David says, John, I gave up on Rings of Power season 1, but gave
I don't blame you.
season 2 a chance because you said it was good. And WTF, I have never seen a turnaround in quality between 2 seasons as long as I can remember. I can see the season being a serious contender and the Emmys, to be honest. Insane.
Hey, listen, I don't blame anybody. You know, I've had a lot of people say to me, John, I'm hearing you talk about how good season 2 is, but I just can't do it. Like season 1 just busted me. I'm like, I don't blame you. I really don't. I don't blame you. Like, I think you should give season 2 a shot, but I do not blame you at all if it didn't. Season 1 was a massive disappointment. And if you tapped out after it, I get it. I totally do. And if you never want to watch season 2, I don't blame you for that either. I'm just telling you, as somebody who was in the same boat, man, I've really liked season 2. They have turned it around, man. They really, really have. And if you don't want to give it a shot, I understand because you got burned with season 1. But I think you'd be doing yourself a good justice if you did give it a shot. But I totally get it either way. All right, what's next?
Kimatan says, in the end, even with the success of Inside Out 2, Pixar can't wow us with graphics anymore, and people want something more stylized. Same thing happens with AAA video games with realistic graphics.
I mean, I think there's something to be said about, like with visual effects now, like we all recognize really good visual effects, but are we wowed by visual effects anymore?
Mm-mm. We become accustomed to it.
Like it's literally perfect now. You watch Planet of the Apes, and it's like they completely look, that looks like a talking monkey. That space battle looks utterly perfect. The last bridge to cross is going to be the human face and the uncanny valley. That they're still working on that. But other than that, visual effects is basically at a place of perfection right now. Some do it better than others, but you know, we're not, well, I mean, after seeing the dinosaurs, dude, in Jurassic Park, there's not a lot further to go. And then you had, once we got Phantom Menace, which as crappy as the movie is, the visual effects was the biggest leap forward in visual effects history, in my opinion. Animation's kind of at the same place. Like, we're not wowed by anime, but here's the good thing for Pixar. Pixar was never successful because their animation was the best. They were the best because their stories were the best. They made the best movies, whether or not the thing is good. So yes, you're right. We're now at a kind of a point where so much of the animated stuff looks so good that now the stylized stuff catches our attention. Mutant Mayhem, Arcane, you know, things like that. Absolutely it does. But I don't think that replaces good animation, right? I think, yes, animation is no longer the thing that sells it. And yes, there's now a novelty to stylize stuff, but I don't think it replaces it. I think it's just that, a novelty. But we'll see where that goes. All right, what's next?
Monkey Tongue says, "Hey John and crew, what is your guys' take on the new preventing digital purchases from using the word purchase or buy? This does pertain to movies, music, and video games."
Well, I mean, it's more honest.
Yeah.
Look, we've known for a while now that when you buy a movie on Amazon or Apple or Google or whatever, you're not really buying it.
Right.
What you are buying is a license that allows you access to it, but that can change. So far, less than 0.5% of that has been the case, but it is possible, right? Like Amazon can sell you access to a movie they have, but if for some reason the rights holder of that movie decide to take it off Amazon, there's nothing Amazon can do about it. So they need to be more honest about what it is. Don't tell people they're buying a movie, because they're not. They're buying access to a movie that you currently have to make available, but that may not last forever. Hopefully it does. Maybe it doesn't. So I've said for a long time, I think they need to do even more in making sure they're wording that right so people understand what it is they're buying and what they're not buying. And I think that's important. At least this is a right step in the right direction. All right, what's next?
Anonymous has a two-parter question about marketing of cinemas. I live in Sweden, so I don't know how it is in the US, but I never see cinemas advertise themselves or movies very much outside of the actual theater. The Nicole Kidman ad is funny because we see it when we're already in the theater. Why don't they market themselves like this, but on TV or on other places? Maybe they do it better in the US, but do you have any reflections on this?
From your mouth to God's ears, man. I've been saying that for a long time.
Yep.
Movie theaters need to market themselves. And I get it. Marketing is not cheap. Marketing costs money. Absolutely it does. But guys, you're in the business of the movie-going experience. Advertise it. Advertise it. You know, I can't drive around anywhere in the greater Los Angeles area without seeing Dodgers billboards. I'm not saying they're all over the place, but I definitely see Dodgers playing the Mariners or whatever. This,
Yeah.
like, they advertise the sport-going experience. They advertise it. I'm now seeing billboards all over the place for going to a Chargers game or going to a Rams game, going to a Kings game. You know, where they advertise the experience. I think that movie theaters need to, instead of playing me the same goddamn Nicole Kidman ad, we come to this place for the 4,000th fucking time, maybe take a little bit of money and advertise your company to people who aren't already sitting in your theaters. I don't know, maybe that's crazy. But I think it's a good idea. Advertise the experience.
I think a place that surprisingly would actually have a good kind of symbiotic like relationship is with streamers who have said they want to make a commitment to theaters. Because I know not all streamers, they're going to compete with that, but they want to make a commitment to theaters and releasing that. Advertise on those for people that have the ad tier.
Yes. AMC should be playing their ads on Apple TV. AMC should be playing their ads on Disney Plus. AMC, I mean, hell, advertise on ABC or whatever. Advertise during a football game. Guess what? I'm a big sports fan and I like going to movies. So, like, maybe do that. Again, I know it's expensive. Don't break the bank on it, but maybe take some of your money that you're putting to other insane initiatives and maybe putting it into actually marketing your company. Oh, and maybe not advertising it just to the people who are already there. Just a thought. All right, what's next?
We got your names tips. How many years prior to Fellowship of the Rings is the timeline of Rings of Power? In the movie, Gollum finds the ring 2,500 years after the battle. 500 years later, we meet the hobbits. This is even further back because this is the second era, not the third era.
Yeah, this is the second age that they're in.
Yeah.
Remember, the second age comes to its end with the great battle where Isildur takes up his father's sword and cuts the ring off the hand of Sauron and so on and so forth. So it's, I don't know. I can't remember the exact. I don't give a shit with the exact number. It's a long time.
The problem is because it's not going true to the Silmarillion time. Everything's compressed. So even from that, we'd have to give you a different timeline. It's hard to say.
It's difficult. But, I mean, theoretically speaking, the events of the Rings of Power, you're probably talking about 10 years, 5 to 10 years before the events that we see in the prelude of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, when we see Elrond, the armies of one last alliance of elves and men marching on Mordor, and Isildur, who is in Rings of Power, eventually taking up his father's sword and cutting off the ring. So whenever that is, just a few years before that. That's the timeline. All right, what's next?
Harvest K says, so I saw a double feature of The Wild Robot and oh God, and The Substance over the weekend.
Ooh, that's a weird double feature.
I hope you ended with The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot is a near perfect blend of storytelling and visual beauty, while The Substance underscores its social commentary with the extreme body horror quite well. It got its message across, but it's a hard watch. There's
an art to filmmakers planning their perfect double feature. That's a yeah. I gotta tell you, man, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that's an odd choice.
I'm not sure they planned that
go
one.
From Wild Robot to The Substance. Good on you. I love it. I love the creativity. All right, what's next?
All right. AL says, I saw Megalopolis. Now I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it's better than a lot of people give it credit for. It's got solid editing, good dialogue, good characters. Wait, you're not believing everything I'm saying, are you? It effing sucked. 3 out of 10.
Oh.
For a second, I was going for it.
Yeah, you had me bought. I was about to say, hey, man, that's the beauty of the subjectivity film. And listen, by the way, I have heard from a couple people who do like it. And that's, again, that's the great thing about movies, is that it hits us all in different ways and strikes different chords with us. But unfortunately, I'm hearing a lot more people tell me they really didn't like it as opposed to the ones that they did. But yeah, it is what it is. All right, what's next?
Thomas Bombadil says, hi, team. I'm absolutely loving Bad Monkey on Apple TV+. The Florida setting and the over-the-top nature of it makes it feel like a GTA show. It was created by Bill Lawrence of Ted Lasso and Shrinking. And you can tell, best new comedy show of the year. It is on my queue. I'm trying to get through a few things, but I will get there.
Absolutely. Again, we were just talking about Dodgeball, so Vince Vaughn. It looked good to me, but I never got around trying it out. And then everybody told me it was great. Chris Carr loves the show.
She loves it.
And, you know, Anne likes Vince Vaughn a lot for obvious reasons, but I'm definitely going to sit down and start checking it out. Once I get through, you know, well, I mean, Rings of Power is ending this week.
Right.
Because right now I'm trying to keep up with Rings of Power, Penguin, and Rings of Power, Penguin, and Agatha. So with Rings of Power coming to conclusion, I think I'll add Bad Monkey into the rotation because everybody I've heard talk about it says it's great. So I'm definitely going to check it out. All right, what's next?
Mike's Movie Madness is, hey, John and company. So with House of the Dragon Season 2, Fallout, Shogun, Bear Season 3, and now Penguin, I'll even throw in Rings of Power Season 2. Can we confidently say this is the best year of television we've ever had?
No.
By the way, how great was Episode 2 of Penguin?
Episode 2 of Penguin was utterly fantastic. It was so good. Agatha's good so far. It's good, which is, I mean, a lot better than a lot of the other Disney's plus Marvel shows I've seen. So it's good. Rings of Power Season 2 is great. I'm really like it. Such an improvement over Season 1. Penguin is masterful. Shogun, yes. Bear Season 3 was kind of a step down for the Bear, to be honest. So is this a good year for television? Absolutely. Greatest year of television ever? No, I wouldn't say it's in that conversation. I mean, Shogun's there. Unbelievable. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's in the conversation for the greatest. But again, that, like anything else, when it comes to art, is subjective. So you may feel that way. I'm just saying, for me personally, I don't feel that way. All right, what's next?
Bry Guy says, hey, John, do you plan on checking out the Lego themed Pharrell Williams bio documentary, Piece by Piece? 2, my most anticipated movie of November is Netflix's The Piano Lesson. It comes out the same month as Wicked, Moana 2, and Conclave.
By the way, I'm dying for all 3 of those movies.
Yeah.
I think all those movies are going to be great.
I'm 2 out of 3. Not as big on Wicked as the other 2.
As far as Piece by Piece goes,
I'm seeing it for sure.
I'm definitely intrigued by the notion of Pharrell Williams taking it and kind of making his own thing, but doing it in a Lego style. That's really interesting. The trailer hasn't done anything for me.
Yeah, me either.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I like Pharrell Williams. The doing it in a Lego animation style is such a creative idea. But the trailer has done nothing to sell me on it. So I don't know. Right now, I'll say right now, I'm non-committal. I'm not saying I'm not going to see it. I'm not committed to seeing it. I'm still in the trying to decide. I'm trying to determine if I am or not. But right now, the trailers haven't done anything to sell me on it yet. But we'll see. All right, what's next?
Ronetta says, "What's up, crew? That second episode of Penguin was amazing. The tension is unbelievable, even though we know what happens with the Penguin. Love how we're getting there. Also took my son and his cousins to see Transformers 1, and yes, it was the best one."
Well, here's the thing I would say, Renetta. Do we know what happens to Penguin? This is a new world. This is a different interpretation, and it's not the one that's going to be in continuity with the rest of the new DC universe. Penguin probably survives the events of the Penguin, but I mean, aside from that, does he become the new kingpin of Gotham? Does he become the right-hand guy to the Maroni family or the Falcone family? Remember, they're not beholden to, I remember even in the comic books, there is no definitive history of the Penguin. They've changed it all the time, almost as much as they changed Jokers. So do we know where Penguin ends up? I would submit to you that we don't really. And that's part of the fascinating thing about it so far, is that I'm not really, again, other than the fact that I'm pretty sure he survives, I don't know where he ends up. And we're kind of on this journey right now to kind of figure out how they're going to do it. All right, what's next?
Brandon says, "Oh my God, The Substance is a triumph. Absolutely bonkers, but layered with great social commentary. An astounding performance from Demi Moore. Besides Dune 2, this might be my favorite movie of the year."
Listen, The Substance is not for everybody. But there are some people that think this is an Oscar contender kind of movie. Now, I'm not hearing a lot of that, so I don't think it will be. But there are some people who like it like ridiculously much. Again, a lot of people saying this might be the best performance of Demi Moore's career. So, I mean, it just looked great. Now, I didn't know from the previews that it would have so much body horror and it would be as grotesque as it apparently is. Again, I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, there's a lot of people saying some very, very good things about it. All right, what's next?
All right, I think we got 5 more here. Mr. I says, "With the basketball references today, rest in peace, Dikembe Mutombo.
Mutombo, yeah, man.
Cancer
He
claim,
died at 58.
Yeah, cancer claimed a legend at 58 years old. Always loved him, waving his finger and saying no when he blocked a shot."
Dude, even in the last year or so, there was that ad campaign with him like
I remember
blocking
that.
people. Like some ladies trying to put throw
he's
some
blocking
chips into her
everybody.
grossing and he's blocking it. No. Like that was, yeah, I read about that. I didn't even know McKenby was sick. Yeah, that dude was a nightmare. He was a nightmare. If you're coming down the court and you know you got to negotiate this, I mean, he was an absolute nightmare. And yeah, I was very, very sad to hear about that, man. I really was. All right. What's next?
Pacific McRim says, "Hello, JC crew. Been a while." The food ones always get Ray. "Hello, JC crew. Been a while since I chatted with Kristen Milioti. Been a while since I chatted, but Kristen Milioti deserves the Emmy for The Penguin. Very few can captivate a screen like her in this show. Thanks, guys. Never forget, you can't become king because some watery tart threw a sword at you."
little Monty Python reference there. It is, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay. It's 2 episodes. And by the way, we're early in the Emmy cycle. Like there could be some other mind-blowing, earth-shattering performances that will outshine Milioti's performance. All we can talk about is how good is she? And she's great. She is great in this show. But calling that, oh, she deserves the Emmy, that's premature. Again, we haven't seen the rest of the episodes. Yeah. We haven't seen all the other performances that are coming out this year, because 1 or 2 may come out that might be even better than this one, right? This one's great. But that's the thing about winning Oscars or Emmys. It's not about whether you were great. It's about if somebody else was a little bit greater. Because we have seen, listen, we talked about this before. Robin Williams should have had 2 Oscars on his mantle. The problem is the year he did Good Morning Vietnam, which he should have won an Oscar for, too bad. Michael Douglas did Wall Street. It just so happens that Michael Douglas did Wall Street that year, and there was no beating him that year. So it's not about, did you turn in a performance that was good enough to win an Emmy? Is her performance good enough to win an Emmy? Yes. But that's not how it works. It's did you happen to turn in a performance that's worthy of an Emmy in a year where you were lucky enough that nobody else happened to turn in a performance that was a little bit better? And maybe she will win. But right now, it's way too premature to start declaring that she should be the winner when we've only seen 2 episodes and we don't know what else is going to come out this year. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
The Tick with a 2-parter. On one hand, I get why people would feel annoyed at AMC about this A-list policy. Comes off as one-sided. You don't show, you cost us money, canceled. But if it was, you're not using A-list. Oh, well, we'll be taking your money each month anyway. But I'm going to side with the big bad corporation on this one because in both of those situations, the fault actually is with the consumer. I mean, it's not my gym's fault if I don't use or cancel my membership. The Krispy Kreme next to the gym is to blame.
I like that. I mean, and here's the thing too. It's not like, oops, I forgot that I had, and you don't show up once and then they cancel your membership. No, they're saying if you make reservations and don't show up 4 times in 4 weeks, to be honest with you, they're being pretty generous with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what that tells me? It tells me there are a lot of people making reservations all the time and never showing up.
Yeah.
And that is costing them money. And here's the thing. If you do that, it's ultimately going to force A-list. By the way, A-list has not increased their prices in forever. I'm sure a price increase has got to be coming at some point. But anyway, people who do that are going to be the reason I'm going to have to pay more for my A-list. Because every time you make reservations and you don't show up, you're costing them money that they got to cut a check to the distributors. And eventually they're going to have to make up for that. So they're going to raise the prices. That means you not showing up when you make a reservation, I have to pay for it. Or Jonathan has to pay for it. Or other people who do use their A-list right. So again, it's not that they're going, aha, you didn't show up once, we're canceling your membership. It's, look, if you make reservations and don't show up 4 times in the same month.
And you just can't hit cancel?
Then yeah, you can't be bothered. Just open up your app and cancel your reservation. I think they're being pretty damn reasonable. Again, I got tons of criticism for AMC, but I think in this, they're being pretty damn reasonable. All right, what's next?
Bry Guy with our final one says, hey, Buzz Lightning McQueen, it's the year of the hammer time. Little follow-up there.
Yes, a little bit of where is Lightning Hammer? I promise I'll never bring that one up again. I swear. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number 1, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora.
Hey, see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
Oh, wrong shot. Hey, see you guys.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, Lightning Hammer.